So, deep inside the stem of a plant are tubes that transport water. What tubes transport water? Xylem, right. Okay, 1 mark for that. A pea plant is growing up a fence using vines that are stimulated by touch. This is called what? Thigmotropism. Okay, number 3, a bristlecone pine is the oldest tree in the world at 5,000 years. It can get this old because it always makes new cells using which hormone? Cytokinins, right? Okay, those are the ones that cause cell division. Number 4, the layer of the leaf that is responsible for photosynthesis. Palisade layer. Okay. The blank is a layer of wax secreted by a plant to prevent water loss. Tom? Cuticle. Okay. Bananas ripen quickly because they produce lots of what? Ethylene. That looks like a no now. Ethylene. Okay, what is the phloem transport? Xylem transport water, phloem transports. What's in the sap? Sugar. Okay, number 8. Transpiration and blank create the force that pulls water up a plant. As transpiration occurs, salt's left behind. What process helps balance the salt? Osmosis. All right, it's out of 8. Give them a mark out of 8. Let them see it. And then put it in the box here. Okay, so the good news about this is this should not require you to do any homework if you're here in class today. You should get this done. Okay, realistically, you have an extra 15 minutes of class today because of the band thing. Okay, so you should have no problem getting this done in class today. Here's what you're going to be expected to do. You are going to be expected to design a lab. Okay, so that means a problem, a hypothesis, procedure, materials, okay, your variables, all that kind of stuff. That's as far as you have to go. There's no analysis because you're not really doing the lab. Okay, there's no conclusion because, again, you have no results and no analysis, and there's no sources of error because, again, you're not actually doing the lab. So all you're doing is like the first half of the lab. Okay, you have to design this lab in order to test the effect of some factor we talked about yesterday on the growth of a plant. All right, so give you kind of an example here. This one's really simplistic, and you're not going to do it because it is too simplistic. Okay, the amount of water on what's the effect of water on plant growth? I think we know. Okay, so you could say I'm going to give this plant water and this one none. That's very simplistic. Okay, you're just going to be a little more complex than that. Okay, you may still want to do water, maybe how much of it or something like that, but just getting water and not getting water, we know the outcome of that experiment already. Okay, one dies, the other lives. Okay, so we would want something a little bit more in depth than that. All right, but the problem I would be investigating there would be, what is the effect of water on plant growth? Okay, obviously, again, you're going to want to be a little more complex. So you'll be completely designing the lab experiment, okay, and you're going to, again, be studying the effect of a variable of your choice. Which variable will that variable be? And by that I mean manipulated, responding, or controlled. It's going to be your manipulated variable. Whatever it is you're testing is going to be the manipulated variable in your experiment. If it has to do with water, if it has to do with sunshine, if it's got to do with any kind of light or soil or anything like that, that's going to be your manipulated variable. Now, the thing you need to remember here is that in a proper experiment, how many manipulated variables can you have? One. You can only have one. All right? I can't do an experiment that tests this plant's going to get 20 mils of water a week, this one's going to get 30 mils, this one's going to get 40 mils, and they're all going to get different amounts of sunlight. Because then how am I going to know whether it was the water or the sun that caused them to grow? The answer is I won't. I can only test one thing at a time. Okay? I can test varying amounts of water. That's fine. I'm still only testing the amount of water. Okay? I could do the same thing with sunshine. It's just different amounts of it or different colors of it or whatever. Okay? As long as you only are testing one thing. Okay? Color of light is like one thing. Okay? Amount of light is one thing. Kind of soil is one thing. Okay? You just can't test kind of soil and different amounts of water, because then you're not going to know which one caused the growth. Does everyone follow me there? So one manipulated variable. What's your responding variable? What's everybody's responding variable going to be? Yeah, the growth of the plant. Now what you need to think about when you're designing this is, what are you going to use as a measure of the growth of the plant? Okay? Are you going to talk about maybe how tall it gets? Or are you going to count the number of leaves that it grows? Okay? Or are you going to take its mass? Okay, before and after. Okay? Maybe you're going to do all of them. I don't know. But you have to have some quantitative measure, Jack, of the growth of your plant. All right? Something that you are going to actively measure that will tell you how much your plant has grown or not grown. Does everyone follow me there? Now, again, that may be dependent on what kind of plant you choose. Okay? Now, if you don't know the names of certain kinds of plants, that's fine. Okay? Just pick something simple, like a tomato or a pea or a bean, okay, or a carrot. Just pick something simple. Unless you've got like a plant in mind, pick something that would be easy to measure the growth of. All right? Something you could grow in your garden over the course of a summer is always a good idea, okay, because they grow fast. You don't want to do this experiment on a spruce tree. All right, because those grow kind of slow and over hundreds of years, and that would be difficult for you to complete as an experiment. All right, so we want to pick something that's kind of got a short-term life cycle. Everyone with me there? Okay, controlled variables. Think about those. When you're doing an experiment that is testing, let's say, the effect of water, okay, the amount of water on plant growth, what other things do you need to make sure you keep the same? Okay, don't just go, controlled variables are everything else that could affect the growth of a plant. Okay, you got to be more specific than that. Okay, these are the controlled variables, because this one, if it wasn't controlled, would do this. This one, if it wasn't controlled, would do this. Okay, these have to be controlled because. Everybody follow me there? So, good, thorough explanation of our variables. All right. So again, the variable could be nutritive, water, sunlight. Could be conditional. Could be the orientation of the plant. Maybe you want to see if whether a plant is sideways or upside down makes any difference. Maybe it does. Okay, you can do an experiment to find out. Okay. Now, first thing that needs to appear in your experiment is something called an abstract. Sometimes I have these on your lab reports, and sometimes I don't. Okay, sometimes it's just the background information. You've had a few labs I've given you that had background information. That's kind of what your abstract is. In the real world, science takes money. Okay, and if you want to do research on something, you usually have to go out and sell your idea to someone who will fund your research. All right, so like pharmaceutical companies are always funding people's research into developing new drugs that will do, certain jobs. Okay, that's a huge market. All right, so big drug companies will fund the research into this type of therapy or that type of chemical development or whatever. All right. Agricultural companies will fund research on the growth of plants, because, well, if they can find something that makes plants grow better, they can sell that information or that product to other people. So in your abstract, what you need to do is tell me, here's what I know about the growth of a plant. Or here's what I know about things that affect the growth of plants. Here's what I'm going to do. And here are the real world applications of it. All right, so it's like 3 sentences. Okay, this is what I know about the growth of plants. This is what I'm going to do, and this is how the results of my experiment could be used by you who's paying for my research. All right, everybody with me on that one? Okay, so it's not very big. It's the first thing that's going to be on there. It's just a 3-sentence little paragraph. Okay, then after that you'll have your problem. Okay, your problem will be, what is the effect of said variable on the growth of a plant, or whatever you want to say. Okay, then you'll have your design, manipulated, responding, controlled with good explanations. Then your hypothesis. Okay, your hypothesis needs to be the same as it is in any other experiment. If this is true, or if this is the effect of my variable on plant growth, and this is done, describe your experiment, then it will be found that this will happen. Everybody with me there? Yes? All right. Then you've got your procedure. Okay? Your procedure cannot be step 1, plant seeds. Step 2, water them. Step 3, record their growth. It's got to be a little more detailed than that. Okay? In your procedure, you need to explain how you're going to set up your experiment. Okay? What types of experimental groups you will have. Okay? And what I mean by that is this. Okay? In any experiment, you have what are called the experimental group. Okay? And then you have another group that is called your control group. Okay? The difference between these two groups is the manipulated variable. Okay? If you're in the experimental group, something for you is changing. If you're in the control group, everything is as it was before. All right? So if we were doing an experiment that tested, let's say, the effect of this allergy medication on the relief of your allergy symptoms, okay? The experimental group could be the dosages of the actual drug, okay? So let's say, person 1, they get 100 milligrams, and person 2 gets 200 milligrams, and person 3 gets 400 milligrams. What does the person in the control group get? 0. They get a placebo. They have to take a pill. Okay, because there's the mind over matter thing. Okay, sometimes just taking a pill will make you feel better if your mind tells you that it's going to make you feel better. Okay, this happens all the time, right? Especially with people who are dealing with things like migraines or stuff like that. Sometimes doctors will just prescribe just a placebo, and sometimes just taking a pill makes people feel better. All right, yeah. Really. Okay. In the Korean War, when doctors were running out of morphine, okay, for the soldiers that were wounded, they just started giving them sugar pills and telling them it was morphine, and they all felt better. Okay. So you have a control group that gets nothing. All right. So if we're talking about plants, this would be the normal condition of the plant. Normal condition of a plant would be that it gets some water, okay, or maybe you want your control group to be no water, okay, or no sunlight. Okay, or normal amounts of sunlight, 12 and 12. Okay, it's up to you, but you're going to have a group that you have to compare with your manipulated group or your experimental group. The control group is the group that tells you whether the variable had any effect on growth at all. All right, because if this person feels better, and this person feels better, and this person feels better, and this person feels better, your drug doesn't work. Because everybody felt better. Okay? Your drug only works if this person feels really good, this person feels kind of good, this person feels okay, and this person feels like they're going to die. Okay? Then your experiment worked. Everybody follow me there? So in your procedure, one of the steps is telling me this plant's going to get this plant's going to get this plant's going to get this, and this one is going to be the natural condition of the plant, whatever that is. Okay? In your procedure, you'll probably also want to mention things like how much water your plants are going to get. Okay, now if that's a manipulated variable, that's different for every plant. If it's the controlled variable, it's the same for every plant. Okay, everyone follow me there? Those are the things that need to be outlined in your procedure. All plants will get this much sun, or all plants will get this much soil, or all plants will do this. Okay, is one of your controlled variables the kind of plant, most likely? Okay, you don't want to run an experiment on the effect of water on plant growth and then try 5 different plants. Okay, because plants have different needs for water, and that's not going to be an accurate experiment because you've essentially now got 2 manipulated variables. Okay? Everyone understand where we're going with this? Okay? If you do a good job of this, you should kind of just be finishing this up as the bell goes. Okay? This afternoon. Okay? It should take you 50 minutes to an hour, okay, to do this if you do a good job of it, okay? And you can hand this in to me when it's done. It does not need to be submitted on Google Drive. If you are here in class today, get her done today and have no homework. All right? But do a good job of it. You have lots of time to do a good job, so let's make sure that we do a good job of this. All right? Questions? All right, set to work. If you're a little bit confused or you want to run your variables by me, just come up to my desk and ask. I want it done today. Right? I don't want you to have homework. Realistically, you should. Okay, if it isn't, then let's say tomorrow. Okay, but realistically, everyone should be able to get this done today. What do you need for laying out? Yeah, you need it to look like a lab that I would give you. So you're going to have your problem. What is the effect of this on plant growth? Okay, your design, manipulated, responding, controlled, explained, your hypothesis. Okay, same as you would for a normal lab. Materials, okay, a list of materials. You're going to need that. That's different. Normally you just say C sheet, but you're making this lab, so you got to tell me I need, 10 bags of potting soil and 10 clay pots and 10 plants and stuff like that. Tell me what you need. Okay, and then your procedure, step by step by step. Okay, any other questions there, guys? Yeah, you can go fill it. All right.